I never bet this big, I said. Then I pushed $500 a spin until the last of my cash was gone. My name is Marcus. I manage properties for other people's dreams. 42 units, every rent check flowing through my hands. I had a daughter who called me her hero and a Tuesday routine that felt harmless. $200, 2 hours, home by 10. That October night, I walked in carrying an envelope thick with money that wasn't mine to lose. The table knew my name. The dealers knew my limits. But something inside me had already broken before I sat down. I told myself I was fixing a problem. Instead, I was feeding it. Each spin got bigger. Each loss got heavier. My phone lit up with calls I wouldn't answer. In 2 hours, I went from a man with a career to a man with empty pockets. My daughter still needed school supplies. The tenants still needed repairs. The money was gone. Let me take you through that night, from the moment I counted those hundreds to the moment I walked out with nothing. When a careful man breaks every rule he built his life on, what's he really trying to win back? The money or the person he used to be? My name's Elena Martinez, and I've been dealing roulette at the Silverton Casino for 3 years. Not the Strip with its tourist money and neon promises. The Silverton, where locals come to lose slower. Where the same faces show up every Tuesday. Like church, except our communion is chips and our prayers never get answered the way we want. That Tuesday in October 2003, I started my shift at 6 like always. The ritual calms me. Checking the wheel for bias, counting out chips in their colors, making sure the dolly sits right. The felt under my fingers, worn smooth where players lean. The particular weight of the ball in my palm. These things matter. When you're about to watch people hand over pieces of their lives in $20 increments, by 8 o'clock, my table had its usual cast. Donna was there, the retirement home nurse who always played her residents' birthdays. Tommy sat quiet at the end, his auto shop uniform still dusty from work. They came for the company as much as the game. We all pretended not to know that. Marcus. Chin walked in at 8:15, 15 minutes later than usual. I'd been dealing to him every Tuesday for 2 years. Property manager, 42 units. Daughter named Lily who just turned 8. I knew these things because Marcus talked while he played, the same way some people talk to their bartender. He'd show me pictures sometimes. Lily at soccer practice, Lily school play, Lily holding a goldfish she won at a carnival. Tonight, no pictures. Tonight, he carried a business envelope thick enough to make my stomach drop. Evening, Elena. He sat at third base, same seat always. But his hands shook pulling bills from that envelope. All hundreds. Fresh from the bank. That's quite a buy-in, Marcus. I kept my voice neutral. You learned to do that. He counted out 20 hundreds. $2,000. 10 times what he'd ever put down before. Rough month at work. Just need to catch up a little. I wanted to push the money back across the felt. Tell him to go home. But that's not my job. My job is to spin the wheel and call the numbers and pretend I don't see when someone's about to step off a cliff. He stacked his chips in perfect towers. Black chips, $100 each. 20 of them standing like a small city in front of him. Usually Marcus played the inside, straight-up bets on single numbers. Mostly red 23, Lily's birthday. Tonight he spread chips everywhere. Corners, splits, dozens. Panic betting, we call it. When you're not trying to win anymore, just trying not to lose. The first few spins went his way. Up 400, then 6. He could have walked. Should have walked. But nobody walks when they're winning and desperate. They only walk when they're broke. How's Lily's soccer season going? I asked, trying to ground him in something real. Good. Fine. He didn't look up from the table. His phone buzzed. He flipped it over without checking. I caught the area code, 719. Colorado, where his ex-wife Jennifer moved last year. Donna tried to lighten things. Marcus, honey, you're making me nervous with all those chips. Save some luck for the rest of us. He snapped back. Play your own game, Donna. The table went quiet. Marcus never snapped. Marcus was the guy who bought coffee for everyone when he won, who remembered birthdays, who tipped every dealer even when he lost. I spun again. The ball rattled around the wheel. That sound like bones shaking. Black 15. Marcus had nothing on it. Down 300. He immediately put 200 more in play. Maximum inside is 500. I reminded him. He was getting close to the limit. I know the limit, Selena. Tommy stood up, mumbled something about calling it a night. He knew what he was watching. We all did. Marcus was chasing something that wasn't in the wheel. He was chasing his way back to whoever he was before he walked in with that envelope. That break was coming up at 9:30. I kept glancing at the clock, watching Marcus's towers shrink. 800 down. 1,000. Sweat showed through his white shirt, a spreading map of panic. The pit boss Kyle started hovering. That's what they do when someone's bleeding money too fast. Break got called at 9:30, right when Marcus was down to his last 500. I wanted to stay, to somehow slow what was coming, but Joaquin tapped me out, and I had to go. The break room smelled like microwave leftovers and burnt coffee. I sat with my sandwich, unable to eat, watching the monitors. Marcus had moved. He was at table 7 now, the high-limit table. $100 minimum bets. That your regular? Joaquin asked, sitting down with his cup of coffee. He'd been dealing poker for 6 years, seen everything twice. Yeah, Marcus. I didn't know how to finish. He's destroying his life? He's about to lose his daughter's college fund? He's become exactly what he swore he'd never be. My brother did that once, Joaquin said quietly. Owned a restaurant. Good little place near Fremont. One night at Baccarat, gone. Now he works at someone else's restaurant. On the monitor, Marcus pushed everything forward. 5 black chips on red. $500 on a coin flip. The dealer, Nancy from day shift, pulling a double, spun the wheel. The ball bounced, rattled, dropped. Black 14. Marcus sat there. For maybe 30 seconds. Not moving. Not blinking. Then he stood up slowly, like an old man testing his balance. He walked past the empty tables, past the slots still singing their electronic promises, toward the exit. His shoulders were pulled forward like he was walking into wind. They never look back, Joaquin said. When they lose it all, they never look back at the table. Like if they don't see it, it didn't happen. I returned to my table at 10. Marcus's chair was empty, but his water glass was still there, the ice not even melted. Donna kept glancing at the entrance. Tommy had come back, took Marcus's seat like he was keeping it warm. He ain't coming back tonight, Tommy said finally. How do you know? Donna asked. Because I've made that walk. You don't come back the same night. You go home and stare at the ceiling and try to figure out how to unfuck what you just fucked. I dealt the rest of my shift on autopilot. Every spin, I thought about Marcus driving home. What do you tell yourself in that car? How do you walk into your apartment knowing you just threw away 2 months of other people's rent money? At 2 a.m., I cashed out my tips. $70, including what Marcus had left on the table before his break. Blood money, my mother would call it. Money that came from someone's pain. The next Tuesday came around, and 8 o'clock passed without Marcus. Then 8:15. Then 8:30. Where's your boyfriend? Keith asked, dropping into Marcus's usual seat. Keith was a contractor who tipped badly and blamed everyone else for his losses. Everything Marcus wasn't. He's not my boyfriend, I said, setting up for the next spin. Could have fooled me. Way you two chatted up. Donna jumped in. Leave her alone, Keith. Marcus is a gentleman. Unlike some people. Whatever happened to him anyway? Keith asked, placing a sloppy bet across half the board. Heard he went bust last week. People take breaks, I said. But we all knew this wasn't a break. Tommy mentioned it casually, like it didn't matter. Drove past his office yesterday. Sign on the door said closed for emergency. Property management place on Eastern. My hand stayed steady, but my mind raced. Marcus managed 42 units. That meant 42 tenants wondering where their maintenance calls went. 42 families affected by what happened at my table. The shift crawled. Keith lost 200 and blamed my spinning. A newlywed couple played one number, their anniversary date, and lost their entire $50 anniversary fund in 3 spins. They held hands walking away, but I saw the wife's shoulders shaking. During my last break, I found Rosario from day shift. She'd been dealing for 15 years, knew everyone's story. You hear about Marcus Chun? I asked. She nodded. Came in last Thursday afternoon. Different man. Bought in for $40 at my $5 table, played for exactly 1 hour, left with 35. No jokes, no coffee, barely said a word. He's coming to day shift now. 3 weeks running. Same routine. $40, 1 hour, walks. No matter what. I understood immediately. Marcus had built himself a cage. Enough gambling to keep the monkey fed, but not enough to let it grow. Day shift meant avoiding his old crowd, his old patterns. The $40 was probably what he made in 3 hours at whatever job he'd found. That night, driving home, I passed 3 casinos. The Palms had a new sign, loosest slots in town. The Gold Coast was advertising their buffet. Sam's Town had free parking. Each one pulled at something in me I didn't know was there. Not the desire to win, I knew better, but the desire to feel what Marcus felt. That moment when everything was possible, right before everything was lost. 3 weeks passed. Marcus never showed for his Tuesday night spot. Donna started sitting in his old chair to keep it warm for when he comes back. We all knew he wasn't coming back. Not to our shift. Then Saturday afternoon, my day off, I was at Smith's buying groceries for my mother's birthday dinner. Turning into the cereal aisle, I saw them. Marcus and Lily, comparing cereal prices. "The Lucky Charms are on sale, Dad," Lily said, holding up the bright green box. "Not this week, baby. We've got plenty of cereal at home." Marcus looked up and saw me. His face went through 3 expressions in a second: recognition, shame, then resignation. Lily noticed him freeze. "Dad, what's wrong?" "Nothing, sweetheart. Just saw someone from work." "Hi," Lily said to me, bright and automatic. "Do you work with my dad?" Marcus answered before I could. "She used to." "Elena, this is Lily." "Used to." "Present." Tense would mean explaining why a casino dealer knew him. "Nice to meet you," I said. Lily looked just like her photos. Dark hair and soccer practice braids. Gap-toothed smile. Marcus's eyes. "We're getting groceries for the week," Lily announced. "Dad says we're on a budget, so I'm helping find the best deals." Marcus's hand tightened on the card handle. In it, generic bread, store-brand pasta, the cheapest milk. On his shirt, barely visible under his jacket, a Walmart name tag. "That's very helpful of you," I said. "Dad works at Walmart now," Lily continued. "He says it's temporary, but they let him have flexible hours so he can pick me up from school on Wednesdays and Fridays." "Lily, let's let Elena finish her shopping. Can we get the Lucky Charms? Please? They're only 50 cents more than the store brand." "Not this week." She didn't argue. Something in his voice said this wasn't a negotiation. She put the box back carefully, like it was made of glass. "Take care, Marcus," I said. "You too, Elena." Walking away, I heard Lily ask, "How did she know your name if you don't work together anymore?" I didn't hear his answer. At checkout, I bought a box of Lucky Charms, but I had nowhere to send it. I didn't know Marcus's address. Didn't know if he'd want my pity showing up at his door. The cereal sat in my pantry for months, a bright green reminder of what 50 cents meant when you'd lost everything else. That night after seeing Marcus at Smith's, I couldn't settle. I kept thinking about Lily putting that cereal back, about Marcus's Walmart name tag, about the careful way he'd said, "used to," like it was a wall between his old life and new. I drove without thinking, ending up on Boulder Highway. Every casino called out. The East Side Cannery had a new sign. "Win a car every Friday." The Arizona Charlies promised the best odds in town. Each parking lot was full of cars belonging to people who believed tonight was different. The Palms. I parked. Sat there 20 minutes watching people go in empty and come out emptier. I had $200 in my wallet, my tip money from the week. Cash I didn't need for bills. Cash that could become more cash, or could become nothing. The thing no one tells you about dealing is that you start to feel the patterns. You know when red's running hot, when the wheel favors the second dozen. You start believing you could beat it because you understand it. That's the most dangerous lie of all. I walked to the entrance. Put my hand on the door. Inside, I could hear the slots singing, that electronic chorus of almost winning. Through the glass, I saw the roulette tables, the dealers in their uniforms just like mine, the players leaning forward like prayer. I stood there maybe 5 minutes. A security guard asked if I needed help. "No," I said. "Just leaving." Back in my car, I did the math. 3 years of dealing, averaging $25,000 a year in tips. $75,000 I'd made from other people's losses. Marcus was just one story. There were hundreds of Marcuses, thousands of Lilies eating generic cereal because their parents believed in the wheel. I drove home and called in sick for the first time in 2 years. Spent Sunday in bed, not sick, but not well either. Monday I was back at my table, dealing to the same faces, pretending Marcus's empty chair didn't feel like an accusation. Tommy finally said it. "You ever think about quitting?" "Every day." "But rent, mom's medications." "Same as you." He nodded. "We all had our reasons for being there. The dealers needed the money. The players needed the hope. The casino needed us all to need something we couldn't quite reach. That Tuesday, Marcus didn't show. But I kept his chair open anyway, telling players it was reserved. Reserved for the ghost of who he used to be. December arrived with Christmas. Decorations in the casino. Tinsel on the slot machines, a plastic tree by the cashier's cage, jingle bells playing between the electronic beeps and whistles. The festive decorations made the desperation worse somehow. All these people gambling away Christmas presents that I'd made a decision about. Marcus's tip money, the $180 he'd left in my locker. It smelled like restaurant work when I counted it, like he'd earned it washing dishes or bussing tables. I used it all at Barnes & Noble, children's books, puzzles, a craft kit with beads and string. Educational, but fun. Things an 8-year-old girl would like. Rosario had mentioned Marcus's ex-wife lived in Henderson. Jennifer Chun moved there last year. Lily goes to Mannion Middle School. Finding the address took one phone call to a friend who worked at the school district. I'm not proud of that, but I needed to do something with this money that would make it clean again. Saturday afternoon, I drove to Henderson with the gifts wrapped in silver paper. The house was small but neat, Christmas lights strung carefully. Along the gutters, a car in the driveway with a proud parent of a Mannion Middle School honor student sticker that I left the box on the porch with a note. For Lily, from Santa's helper. No signature. No explanation. From my car, I watched Jennifer come out, look around confused, then carry the box inside. Through the window, I saw Lily tear into the wrapping. Her excitement was visible even from the street. She held up each book, showed her mom the craft kit, immediately opened the puzzles. That money had traveled a strange circuit. From 42 tenants to Marcus, from Marcus to my table, from my table to my locker, from my locker to Lily. Laundered through loss into something better. Back at work that night, I dealt to a man who looked like Marcus from October. Envelope in his pocket, sweat on his collar, that particular desperation that comes from trying to fix one problem with another problem. Table limits are $10 minimum, I said then. Added, 500 maximum, putting emphasis on the first number that he heard it. Bought in for 200 instead of the 2,000 I could see in his envelope. When he lost it in an hour and reached for more money, I called out for a dealer change, said I needed a bathroom break. By the time I got back, he was gone. Can't save them all. Can't save any of them, really. But maybe you can slow them down. The Tuesday before Christmas, Marcus appeared at my table for the first time since October. He wore his Walmart vest under a jacket, the blue bright against the casino's burgundy carpet. The table went silent. He took seat 1 instead of his old seat 6. Bought in for $40, laying down 2 20s like they were made of glass. His hands were steady now, no shake, no sweat. But his face had aged 5 years and 2 months. Hello, Elena. Formal. Distant. Good to see you, Marcus. Donna started to say something, but Tommy touched her arm. We all understood this was different. Now, this wasn't social Marcus who bought coffee and showed pictures. This was surviving Marcus, feeding his addiction just enough to keep it from eating him whole. He played mechanical bets. $5 on red. Loss. $5 on red. Loss. $5 on red. Win. No variation, no hunches, no system. Just the same bet over and over like meditation or medication. His phone buzzed. This time he checked it, typed something back quickly. I caught a glimpse of the text preview. Dad, don't forget my recital is Thursday. He played for exactly 1 hour. Down $8. When he colored up his remaining 32, I had to ask, how's Lily? She's good. On her roll again. A ghost of his old pride flickered through. She's playing violin now. Rental instrument. But she practices every day. He started to leave, then turned back. Thanks for asking, Elena. And thank you for not asking before. I knew what he meant. Thanks for not asking in front of Lily at the grocery store. Thanks for not making him explain. Take care, Marcus. You too. After he left, Donna moved back to his old chair. He looks terrible. He looks sober, Tommy corrected. There's a difference. Keith laughed. Sober? He just gambled for an hour. $40, I said. In an hour. That's control. That's just losing slower, Keith said. But even he didn't sound convinced. That night, I found another envelope in my locker. No money this time. Just a note. Lily loved her Christmas presents. I don't know how you knew, but thank you. She's had a hard year. M. I sat in the break room holding that note, understanding something. We were all connected. Dealers, players, families, strangers. Every spin of the wheel sent ripples out into the world. Marcus's losses became my tips became. Lily's gifts became a moment of joy in a hard year. The cycle didn't stop. It just kept spinning like the wheel itself, red and black and green, hope and loss and sometimes, rarely, redemption. New Year's Eve was amateur night at the casino. Every table packed with people who believed changing. The calendar changed their luck. Midnight resolutions made over chips and cards, promises that would be broken by January 2nd. Marcus showed up at 11, his routine disrupted by Walmart's holiday schedule. The minimums were raised to $15 for New Year's, which meant his $40 would last maybe 10 spins instead of an hour that he adapted. Sat at my table because it was the only spot open, bought his 40 in chips, and waited. Watched other people play, calculating how to stretch his money. When he finally bet, it was still $5, below the minimum. 15 minimum tonight, Marcus. I had to tell him. He nodded, pulled his bet back, waited some more. The table was chaos. Drunk couples kissing between spins, someone's bachelorette party screaming every time red hit, Keith telling everyone. His resolution was to win back his ex-wife's lawyer fees, AT 1145. Marcus placed 15 on red. Lost. 15 on red. Lost. Down to his last $10 with midnight approaching. Can I add cash? He asked quietly. You know you can. He pulled out a 5. His last 5, from the way he looked at it. Put it with the 10 and chips. $15 on red 23. Lily's birthday. The ball spun as the casino counted down. 10, 9, 8. The ball bounced. 7, 6, 5. Rattled around the wheel. 4, 3, 2. Dropped .1 midnight. Red 23. The table erupted. $525 in winnings. Marcus stared at the chips Nancy pushed toward him like they were foreign objects. Around us, people kissed. Champagne appeared from somewhere. Auld Lang Syne played through the speakers. Marcus took $40, exactly what he'd bought in with, and pushed the rest back. For the dealers, he said. Marcus, it's not mine, he said. None of it was ever mine. He left while everyone was still celebrating. I watched him walk out into the new year, $40 in his pocket, the same amount he'd walked in with. The wheel had given him a gift, and he'd given it away. That was recovery. Not winning back what you'd lost, but refusing to lose more. Late January, a Thursday afternoon. I was buying paint for my mother's bedroom when I saw Marcus at Home Depot. He was in the lumber section with an older man, both in Walmart vests, loading 2x4s onto a cart. He saw me and nodded. Didn't approach, didn't hide. Just acknowledged me and kept working. The older man said something that made Marcus laugh. A real laugh, not the performed one from the casino. Later, at checkout, we ended up in adjacent lines. Home project, he asked, gesturing at my paint. Mom's bedroom. You, building shelves for my apartment. My coworker Tom here's helping me out. Tom, this is Elena. Tom shook my hand. Marcus says you work at the casino. Must be interesting. It has its moments. Marcus loaded their lumber onto a flatbed cart. Lily's staying with me this weekend. Wants to help build. Probably more mess than help. But that's the point. I finished. Yeah, that's the point. We walked out together into the January sun. In the parking lot, Tom went ahead to bring around their truck. I see you Tuesday afternoons sometimes, Marcus said. On the monitors. 3 o'clock, table 3. Still $40. Always $40. 1 hour. No exceptions. That must be hard. He considered this. It was. Now it's just what I do. Like taking medication. Exactly the dose prescribed. No more, no less. Tom pulled up with the truck. As they loaded the lumber, I heard Marcus explaining to Tom about supporting the shelves properly, about measuring twice, about taking your time to do it right, building something. That's what he was doing. Not rebuilding. That implied getting back what was lost. Just building. New shelves, new routines, new boundaries. That night at work, I dealt to the usual Thursday crowd. A woman celebrating her divorce. A man spending his tax refund early. Kids barely 21, thinking they'd found a system. During a lull, Tommy asked, "You ever see Marcus around?" Sometimes, I said. He doing okay. He's doing. Tommy understood. Sometimes doing was enough. Sometimes just showing up to build shelves with your daughter, to laugh with a coworker, to walk past a casino without going in. Sometimes that was everything. February brought the Super Bowl, which meant the casino was packed with sports bettors, crossing over to table games between quarters. The energy was different, more desperate, more angry. People who'd lost their parlays trying to win it back at roulette. Marcus maintained his Tuesday afternoon routine, but I heard about it secondhand from Rosario. Same $40, same hour, same mechanical precision. He'd become a ghost story. Among the dealers, the regular who fell all the way down and climbed halfway back. Then one Tuesday night, he walked in during my shift. First time since New Year's. Donna actually gasped that he looked different. Healthier. He'd gained weight back. His clothes fit better. His hands were steady. Still wearing the Walmart vest, but it looked like a choice now, not a defeat. Mind if I sit? It's a free country, Keith said, drunk already at 8 o'clock. Marcus took seat 3. Middle of the table. Not his old spot, not the new one. Somewhere. Between who he was and who he was becoming. $40 in chips. But this time he talked. Lily made first chair violin. Youngest in her section. That's wonderful, Donna said, genuinely happy. She's got a solo in the spring concert. May 15th, if anyone wants to come. The old Marcus inviting casino people to his daughter's recital. But also new Marcus, building connections again that he played his hour. Lost $12. When he colored up, he did something unexpected. He handed me a $5 chip, then gave one each to Donna and Tommy. What's this for? Tommy asked. Tuesday tax, Marcus said. For holding my place all these months. After he left, we all held those chips like they were something more than clay and paint. They were forgiveness, maybe, or just acknowledgement that we'd all been through something together. He's gonna make it, Donna said. Maybe, Tommy replied. But making it don't mean getting back to where you were. Sometimes making it just means not falling further. Keith laughed, bitter and drunk. Philosophical bullshit. Guy's still a loser, just losing less. But I'd seen Marcus with his coworker, building shelves. I'd seen him walk away from a $500 New Year's win. I'd seen him hand out chips like communion wafers, blessing us all with his survival. That night, dealing to the Super Bowl crowd, I thought about circles. Marcus to me to Lily to Marcus. All of us spinning around each other like the ball around the wheel, occasionally dropping into a slot, occasionally bouncing back out, but always, always in motion. March came with its false promise of spring. Vegas doesn't really have seasons, but people pretend it does. The casino started advertising their March Madness specials, basketball fever bringing in a different crowd that I made a decision that had been building since New Year's. Used Marcus's remaining tip money, the $485 he'd left that midnight, to buy things for Lily. Not toys this time. Practical things. School supplies, new backpack, gift cards for clothes. I found Jennifer's address again through Rosario, who'd become my inadvertent accomplice. You're playing guardian angel, she said during break. I'm returning stolen money to its rightful owner. That money wasn't stolen. It was gambled and tipped. Same thing, different name. I left the packages on a Saturday afternoon. No note. This time, watched from my car as Jennifer brought them in, confused but accepting. In Vegas, people learn not to question unexpected kindness too hard. That Tuesday, Marcus didn't show for his afternoon session. Rosario told me later he'd called in. Lily was sick, needed to pick her up from school. The fact that he could skip his gambling hour for his daughter meant something. The addiction wasn't driving anymore. He was. But Thursday, he came to my evening shift. Bought in for 40, played for an hour, but something was different. He was looser, making jokes again. Lily's feeling better, he offered without my asking. Strep throat. Antibiotics kicked in fast. You missed Tuesday, Donna observed. Yeah, had something more important. Keith snorted. More important than losing money. More important than being here, Marcus corrected. There's a difference. He was right. Being able to choose not to come, that was power. For months, he'd been slave to the routine, $40 whether he wanted to or not. Now it was just a choice, one he could unmake. When he left, up $8 for once, he said something that stuck with me. You know what I learned? The house always wins, but that doesn't mean you always have to play. That night, dealing to the March Madness crowd, I watched people chase their bracket losses with roulette bets. They all thought they were different from Marcus. They all thought they could stop whenever they wanted. But stopping isn't the hard part. The hard part is staying stopped. Or in Marcus's case, finding the exact amount of poison that keeps you alive without killing you. April 15th. Tax day. The casino was quieter. People had just written checks to the government. Reality hitting hard. But the desperate still came. Tax refunds burning holes in pockets. Or worse, people trying to win enough to pay what they owed. I wasn't supposed to be working, but I picked up a shift to help with my mother's medical bills. She needed new diabetes medication, the kind insurance only partially covered. $300 a month our part. The irony wasn't lost on me. I was dealing to pay for medicine while Donna gambled away her insulin money. Marcus came in at his usual Tuesday time, but went straight to the cashier's cage instead of a table. I watched him fill out paperwork. Tax forms. The casino had to report. His New Year's Eve win. Even though he'd given it all away, he saw me watching and walked over during a dead spin. $525 headache, he said, holding up the W-2G form. Taxes on money I didn't keep. That's rough. It's fair. I want it, even if I gave it away. Consequences don't stop just because you're trying to get better. He played his usual $40 hour at Rosario's table. I watched him on the monitors during my break. Same mechanical betting, same checking of the watch, same discipline. But his body language was different. Not defeated, not desperate. Just present. Later, Tommy told me something I didn't know. Marcus has been helping my nephew. Kid's got a gambling problem, sports betting mostly. Marcus meets with him Tuesday nights after his session here. Like a sponsor, but not official. How do you know? Because my nephew told me. Says Marcus is the only one who gets it. Who doesn't judge. I thought about that. Marcus using his worst mistake to help someone else avoid theirs. The wheels spinning forward, but maybe in a better direction. That night, a young guy came in wearing a suit too expensive for our casino. Lost $3,000 in 20 minutes. Then tried to negotiate a marker. We don't do markers here. I told him, come on, I'm good for it. I'm a lawyer. We still don't do markers. He stormed off to find an ATM. When he came back, I'd been relieved by another dealer. Sometimes that's all you can do. Step away and let someone else witness the fall. But I thought about Marcus, meeting with Tommy's nephew, turning his disaster into someone else's warning sign. May 15th arrived with desert heat and lilies. Spring concert. Marcus had mentioned the date enough times that I'd memorized it. 7 p.m. at Mannion Middle School, that I wasn't going to go. It would be weird, inappropriate. But at 6:45, I found myself in the parking lot, watching family stream. Into the auditorium. Marcus's voice in my head. May 15th, if anyone wants to come. Inside, I sat in the back row. The auditorium smelled like floor wax and teenage anxiety. Programs on every seat. There was Lily's name, first violin, with an asterisk marking. Her solo. Marcus was in the third row with Jennifer. Not together, but near each other. Co-parents navigating shared pride. He wore a white shirt and tie. First time I'd seen him without the Walmart vest or casino clothes. The concert was typical middle school. Some kids playing beautifully, others just trying to keep up. But when Lily stood for her solo, the auditorium shifted. She was tiny behind the violin, but her presence filled the space. She played Ashokan Farewell, that haunting melody about loss and hope. Her bow moved like water, notes flowing clean and true. I watched Marcus watch his daughter. His face held everything: pride, regret, love, sorrow for the concerts he'd almost missed. When she finished, the applause was real, not just parent. Politeness. Lily bowed, found her dad's face in the crowd, and smiled. That smile was worth more than any jackpot. After the concert, I tried to slip out, but Marcus caught me in the lobby. Elena? You came. You mentioned the date. She was wonderful. Lily ran up, still holding her violin. Dad, did you see? I didn't mess up once. You were perfect, baby. She noticed me. Oh, hi. You're the lady from the grocery store. Dad's friend from work. Former work. Marcus corrected gently. Elena, this is my daughter Lily. You played beautifully. I told her. Thanks. Dad recorded it on his phone. He's going to send it to my grandparents in California. Jennifer approached, protective. Marcus introduced us carefully. Jennifer, this is Elena. She knew me during a difficult time. Jennifer's eyes said she understood exactly what that meant. But she shook my hand. Thank you for coming. It means a lot to Lily when people show up. Walking to my car, I realized I'd never see Marcus's full recovery. Recovery isn't a destination you arrive at. It's a daily choice, a violin solo played one note at a time, beautiful and fragile and never quite finished. June brought tournament season. The World Series of Poker filled every casino with dreamers. Our roulette tables got the overflow, poker. Players on tilt, trying to win back buy-ins with even worse odds. Marcus maintained his routine. Tuesdays at 3, $40, 1 hour. But Rosario told me he'd started bringing a book, reading between spins. Some kind of textbook, she said. Taking notes and everything. I found out what he was studying when he showed up one evening. With news. I passed my real estate exam, he announced to the table. Not property management, can't get that license back. But real estate agent. Fresh start. Donna hugged him over the table, nearly knocking over her chips. That's wonderful, honey. When do you start? Tommy asked. Already did. Part-time for now, keeping Walmart for the benefits. But I've got 2 listings already. Former clients who stuck by me. He played his hour, but the conversation was different. Future-focused. He talked about market trends, interest rates, showings scheduled for the weekend. The man who'd lost everything talking about helping others find homes. Keith, drunk as usual, had to ruin it. Real estate. After what you did, who'd trust you with their money? Marcus didn't flinch. People who understand that falling down doesn't mean staying down. People who know what it cost me to get back up. That shut Keith up. We all knew Marcus's story by now, at least the outline. The October collapse was legend among the regulars. But here he was, 9 months later, rebuilding. I've got something else, Marcus said, pulling out an envelope. Not thick with cash this time. Just a single sheet of paper. Letter from the Nevada Real Estate Division. They know about my past. The gambling, losing client funds, all of it. But they approved my license with conditions. Monthly check-ins, supervisor oversight, separate handling of client money. They gave you a second chance, I said. No, I gave myself a second chance. They just didn't stand in the way. He left that night up $15. Tipped me 5, kept 10. As he walked out, I saw him stop at the ATM. Not to withdraw money, but to deposit his winnings. Even $10 went straight to the bank. He's really doing it, Donna said, almost disbelieving. One day at a time, Tommy replied. That's the only way anyone does it. July 4th weekend. The casino ran specials all weekend. Free play, match play, anything to get bodies through the door. The air conditioning worked overtime against the desert heat, but inside felt like fever anyway. Marcus didn't show Tuesday. Lily was at camp, he'd mentioned, and he was driving up to visit. But Thursday night, a woman came to my table I didn't recognize until she spoke. You're Elena, right? Jennifer, Marcus's ex-wife. She'd never been in the casino before, I could tell. That look of overwhelm at the noise, the lights, the constant motion. Is Marcus here? She asked. Not tonight. He only comes Tuesdays now. I know. That's why I came tonight. She looked around, taking in the scene. I needed to see it. This place. Try to understand. She bought in for $20, the minimum. Placed one $5 bet on red. Lost. Placed another. Won. Collected her chips immediately. That's enough. She said. I just needed to know what it felt like. And it feels like nothing. Boring. Which makes it worse, somehow. That he lost everything to something so empty. She colored up her $20, hadn't lost a cent. Can I ask you something? I nodded. Did you see it happen? October. I saw the beginning. I was on break for the end. He came home that night and sat in his car for 2 hours. I know because Lily called me, worried. Said Dad was just sitting in the driveway with the engine off. I didn't know what to say to that. He's doing better, Jennifer continued. Really trying. The real estate thing is working out. He sold his first house last week. Sent Lily flowers with his commission. Not money, because he doesn't trust himself with cash around her yet. But flowers. She left the $20 chip on the table. For you. For being here when he fell. For being here while he's climbing back. After she left, Keith said, ex-wife came to check up on him? That's fucked up. But Tommy understood. She's protecting her kid. Making sure Dad's okay. That's what good parents do. I thought about Jennifer driving to the casino, needing to see the place that almost destroyed her family. Sometimes understanding requires witnessing. Sometimes you have to see the wheel to understand its power. August was my 3-year anniversary at the Silverton. The casino gave me a pin and a $50 bonus. I thought about the 75,000 in tips I'd made, the thousands of losses I'd witnessed, the 100 Marcuses I'd dealt to. Marcus came in on a Tuesday afternoon but didn't play. Just walked through, waved at Rosario, headed to the restaurant. I found out later he was meeting a client there, neutral ground for signing papers, using the casino as an office. That took something. But that evening, he came back. Different. Suit, not Walmart blue. Real estate professional clothes. He sat at my table with $40, like always, but everything else had changed. Closed 3 sales this month, he announced. Enough to pay back a quarter of what I owed. Owed. The client funds. I'm paying them back, even though bankruptcy discharged it. $100 a month to each of the 42 families. Going to take years, but you need to. Yeah, he played his hour, but differently. Casual, social. Like the old days, but without the desperation underneath. When Keith started his usual drunk rambling about his ex-wife, Marcus shut him down. Keith, either play or leave. But stop poisoning the table. Keith tried to square up, but the pit boss was already there. Problem? No problem, Marcus said calmly. Keith was just leaving. And Keith did leave. Escorted out by security after making a scene. We all watched him go, understanding something had shifted. Marcus had authority again. Not from money or position, but from survival. Thank you, Donna said. He's been getting worse. Someone had to say it, Marcus replied. That night, after his hour was up, Marcus did something unprecedented. He walked to the high-limit table, the one where he'd lost everything. Stood there for maybe 30 seconds, just looking. Then walked away. Exorcising demons. I asked when he passed my table heading out. Exorcising, he corrected. And no, just reminding myself. Some doors should stay closed. After he left, Tommy said what we were all thinking. He's different now. Different how? Donna asked. He's not trying to be who he was before. He's becoming who he is after. September brought the kids back to school, and the casino quieted down. Locals only, the hardcore regulars who came regardless of season. Our Tuesday night table had shrunk. Keith was banned. A couple others had disappeared the way gamblers do. Just stopping one day, without goodbye. Marcus came in with an envelope. My stomach clenched, flashback to last October. But when he opened, it was photos. Lily at orchestra camp. Lily with her new violin. A purchase, not a rental. Lily and Marcus at a real estate office where he now had his name on the door. Partner track, he explained. If I make it 2 years clean, they'll make me junior partner. Clean? Donna asked. No violations, no complaints, no gambling beyond my $40 sessions. He played his hour, showing photos between spins. The old Marcus, sharing his life with his casino family. But also new Marcus, with boundaries and limits and hard-won wisdom. During a bathroom break, I found Jennifer in the hallway. She'd been coming monthly, never playing, just checking, making sure Marcus was maintaining his discipline. How do you think he's doing? She asked. I think he's doing the work. Lily wants us to try again. As a family. What do you want? I want to trust him. But I watched him lie for 2 years before October. Even to himself. Especially to himself. He's different now. Maybe. Or maybe. He's just better at pretending. She left without going to the tables. But I saw her in the parking lot, talking to Marcus by his car. Not arguing, just talking. 2 people who'd been through disaster together, trying to figure out if there was something after. That night, dealing to the small Tuesday crowd, I thought about forgiveness. Not the instant kind, but the slow type that comes from watching someone do the work day after day. Marcus had been climbing back for 11 months. At what point does the climb become the story, not the fall? You ever think about leaving? Donna asked during a dead spell. The casino? Yeah, getting a normal job. One where people don't lose their houses. Every day. But then who would witness the Marcuses? Who would remember? She understood. We were archivists of loss, but also sometimes of redemption. Sometimes the will gives back. Not often, not enough, but sometimes. October came around again, a full year since the collapse. The anniversary sat heavy in the air. Marcus hadn't mentioned it, but we all knew. Trauma keeps its own calendar. Tuesday afternoon, he played his usual session with Rosario. Tuesday evening, he came to my table. First time he'd done both shifts since everything started. Testing yourself? I asked. Remembering, he said. This time last year, I thought I could fix everything with one big win. Now I know there are no big wins. Just small choices. He bought in for $40. Played for an hour. Lost 35. His worst session in months. But when the hour was up, he stood to leave. You've still got $5 in chips, I pointed out. I know. He left them on the table and started walking away. Then stopped, came back. I need to tell you something, he said to the whole table. A year ago tonight, I lost $20,000 in this casino. $2,000 at this table, $18,000 at the high-limit table. It was money I was supposed to be holding for other people. I destroyed 42 families' trust, my career, my marriage, almost my relationship with my daughter. The table was silent. Even the wheels seemed to pause. I'm not telling you this for sympathy or forgiveness. I'm telling you because every one of you is one bad night from being me. Donna, when you bet your medication money. Tommy, when you chase your business losses. Every regular here knows the edge but thinks they're different. He picked up the $5 chip he'd left. This is what I can afford to lose now. $40 a week, $2,000 a year. That's my gambling budget for the rest of my life. Not because I want to gamble, but because if I don't feed it exactly this much, it'll eat everything again. He handed me the chip. For your retirement fund. Get out while you can, Elena. Then he walked away. Not the broken walk from last October, but not confident either. Just careful. One foot in front of the other. The walk of someone who knows exactly how far they can fall. After he left, we all sat quiet. Finally, Donna said, he's right. About all of it. Doesn't mean we'll stop, Tommy added. No, but maybe we'll remember. I dealt the rest of my shift thinking about circles and lines. Marcus had turned his circle into a line, forward motion instead of repetition. But the wheel kept spinning. It would outlast all of us, the wheel. Waiting patient as gravity for the next person to believe they were different, special, exempt from the physics of chance to at the end of my shift. I put Marcus's $5 chip in my pocket. Not to cash it, to keep it. A reminder that sometimes the biggest win is knowing exactly how much you can afford to lose.